Hello, thanks for joining me, astrologer Patrick Arundell, for your in-depth horoscope forecast for week commencing the 12th of August for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. This week kicks off with Jupiter starting to go forwards after a 4-month backward journey. That's something we can all celebrate. Jupiter is about expansion, it's about travel, it's about philosophy, higher education, anything to do with overseas connections, but it's also to do with a kind of essential fairness. And over the last 4 months, if there have been parts of our existences which seem to have been bogged down and restrained in some way, I do feel that things can start to pick up. Now, Jupiter is supported superbly by Mercury, which moves on Monday into the sign of Leo. It's actually coming back into this sign after its retrograde, and by the middle of this week is fully out of shadow. And this is going to see us all feeling much more outward going, much more upbeat, and a little less introverted. Its rotation through the sign of Cancer does bring a more emotional and watery element to the logic that Mercury asks us to embrace. But it is true on Monday that Uranus, the planet of freedom and of rebelliousness, does go into a retrograde itself, which will last until the 10th of January next year. I think if you have been making some changes to the foundations of your world, especially those that are more innovative, it's possible that some experiments haven't worked, and the interim period will ask us to look at those things afresh and to perhaps settle down the things that have been going well and perhaps find other things that may complement the different and innovative approaches we have been trying. But this is a week when there is also a full moon, and this full moon occurs in the friendly democratic sign of Aquarius. But with the Sun and Venus still in a glorious alliance all through this week, I think really what the Aquarius full moon is asking us to do is just apply a little bit of detachment to the things that we do feel passionate about, or the relationships that are really engaging our thinking, or perhaps it's a romance or a creative strand. It's about balancing, toggling between what's good for us as individuals and what we need to do to connect with other people. So if we get too caught up in our own agendas, that won't necessarily be such a good thing. Now, Mars is going to be leaving the sign of Leo this week and making its way into the sign of Virgo, where it's going to be through to the 3rd of October. Now, Mars moving into Virgo is an interesting one because Mars is about I, and it's certainly been emphasising that in its transit over the last 6 weeks through Leo. In the sign of Virgo, it's more to do with virtuousness, and it's therefore more about what we can do for others, being of service, but also making sure that we use the extra energy it gives us in an industrious, practical and productive way. So if we can get fitter, if we can sort out our diets a little bit more, if we can organise our existence to the point that they're working really superbly well, then we'll be surfing the energy of Mars really very successfully. So Mars in this area is a much more productive, practical and busy influence, not quite so social. But that social factor that has been so powerful in the heavens in recent weeks is still very, very strong this week. It is just finding that balance. But I think the combination of the Sun and Venus is glorious, and Jupiter going forwards is something that we can all savour. Your specific forecast, Cancer, shows lots of great stuff for you personally. Mercury, the planet of communication, is leaving your sign, but it moves into the sign of Leo. And the fire of Leo can fire up your thinking, literally. With the Sun still alongside Venus, there is an opportunity still to make progress with your financial hopes and expectations. It is true the full moon is asking you just to make sure that you're balancing your incomings and outgoings with an eye to the future. But with Mars leaving Leo and moving into the sign of Virgo, your thinking is really going to accelerate as this week comes to a close. In fact, between the end of this week and the 3rd of October, you can be much more passionate and frame your ideas in a very much more articulate way. In the interim, you may even find yourself wanting to get a bit more physically active. With Uranus tracking backwards, however, from Monday in a part of your horoscope that is to do with expanding your horizons around friendships and associations, I think it's possible that from now until the early part of next year, you may rethink some people that you've got to know or some groups that you've been orientating towards over the last 3 or 4 months. But I think generally speaking, the pull for you is to be more open-minded about who you can link up with. It's just ensuring that you do find that balance between protecting your boundaries and yet still staying relatively open. It's a bit of a juggle for all of us, that one. But with Jupiter going forwards from Monday in your sector of practicalities, if you have felt a little bit under energized over the last 4 months, I think that is going to come to a close. And generally this week can still be a time when you have enormous appreciation for the good things in life, creature comforts, and also some sensual pleasures too. It's been a real pleasure being with you. If you'd like to know more about personal astrology based on your time, date and place of birth, please click the link beneath this video to check out my personal horoscope store. You can buy a 12-month forecast and character analysis with a 30% discount, or choose to have a personal one-to-one with me. But for now, good luck and goodbye.